Transfer portal, still ablaze, and we've got a lot of movement going on, so buckle up. I've got at least 6 to talk to you about. Javion Cohen has committed to Miami. This happened today. That it was the number 1 rated offensive lineman in the transfer portal from Alabama, a number 8 overall player, and he is now a Miami Hurricane. And keep in mind, you got to view this not in a vacuum. You got to view this sort of in conjunction with what Miami's doing in recruiting. They got the number 1 offensive lineman out of the portal here. They've got 2 5-star tackles committed, both of whom figure to play early. I mean, I'm not promising playing time, but good grief, you show up with no casts on your legs, you're probably going to play on offensive line for Miami next year. So Javion Cohen, he's in the barn. He's done. 6'4", 305. Just played at Alabama last year. He was a starter at Alabama. So that's one domino today. Another one we're waiting to fall that hasn't fallen yet is Devin Leary, quarterback, once from NC State. I guess we don't refer to him as being from there anymore. Now look, he visited Auburn this weekend, which is noteworthy because when we last spoke, we thought Grayson McCall, quarterback from Coastal Carolina, we thought he was visiting Auburn. He didn't. Devin Leary did. So you may think, is Hugh Freeze about to land him? Well, not if the crystal ball has anything to say about it, because a couple of our guys, Hummer included, I think, seem to think that Kentucky is the betting favorite. I know a lot of folks inside that program at Kentucky think that they are the betting favorite to land Devin Leary. So, is Mr. Leary going to dive into the SEC? And if he does, is it going to be the University of Kentucky that lands his services? We'll see. Rivaldo Fairweather, speaking of one of those programs, this is a guy I told you to keep an eye on. He is committed to Auburn. That's the tight end from FIU, who most of you haven't heard about, but I need you to know. Rivaldo Fairweather, 6'5", 245, spoke about him last week, had that big game against Middle Tennessee, 8 catches, 162 yards, 3 scores. Started playing football, I believe, his junior year of high school, just a basketball guy before that. Ultra long, ultra athletic. And I think that he, along with Jaheim Bell, 2 tight end transfers, one going to Auburn, one going to FSU, I think they have dropped themselves in prime position to just be breakout players offensively this upcoming year. Because there is not a ton of firepower on that Auburn offense right now, and he is a guy. You're looking at some of his highlights right now if you're watching on YouTube. He's a guy who can be a game changer for you. And so in an era where everyone's in love with those flexible tight ends, he is one of them. And Hugh Freeze probably turning cartwheels down there today over landing his commitment. Ernest Hausman has committed to Michigan. And he got reclassified. Not reclassified. I guess he got it reevaluated. So sometimes, because so many guys are going in the portal, you put a grade on them, and then you say, okay, that's a tentative grade. It's kind of like when you're rating tornadoes. Preliminary, it's an EF2. We could bump it up to an EF3 later. Well, Ernest Hausman got bumped up. He was like an EF4, now he's an EF5 because he's the number 1 overall rated player in the transfer portal, but he's not in the portal because he's committed to Michigan. Michigan's killing it in the transfer portal, and I think you probably are aware they're in the playoffs, so good things are happening at Michigan. He was a linebacker at Nebraska this year. Michigan got a good close look at him because I think he had 10 tackles against them. He had 12 tackles against Wisconsin. He's a true freshman this past year. He had 54 tackles. He's good. And so Michigan, again, finding guys in the middle, the interior of their defense. Very low risk, very high reward here. Ernest Hausman to Michigan. Keonta Goodwin is in the portal. Now, if you were watching signing day last year, that was one I think we did live. He was 6'8" coming out of high school, by the way. Offensive tackle. Highest rated recruit that they've had in Lexington in forever. And he was a true freshman. Jesse, how many games did he play in as a true freshman? I think he played in like every one of them. He was, how many? 11 games. So they played 12. So he was in 11 games out of 12 this year as a true freshman. He's entered the transfer portal. Remember, I don't know that I've ever, in football, I don't know that I've ever seen a recruitment come down to Kentucky and Michigan State, but this one did. Well, now he's in the portal, and there's smoke around Louisville. I'm not sure how much smoke there is around Michigan State. I don't have inside intel on this particular portal entry, but Keonta Goodwin is a massive, massive human. 6'8", 340, Best football clearly still ahead of him, you would think. And so that guy now could be the number 1 overall rated player in the portal when those rankings get updated. He just hopped in. Lastly, this happened today too. Jeff Sims. Remember him? Jeff Sims, quarterback at Georgia Tech. He's now the quarterback at Nebraska. Matt Rule, first off, this is a big get for them. Secondly, there's a lot more going on at the quarterback position behind the scenes in college football right now than just Jeff Sims transferring to Nebraska. There is a kid by the name of Dylan Raiola, number 1 player in the 2024 class, who was committed to Ohio State until about 2 minutes ago, and he decommitted. There's Nebraska smoke. I know you're not used to me telling you there's Nebraska smoke around quarterbacks at any kind of high level. There's Nebraska smoke. They got Sims already. So I presume he will be their starter this coming year. Look, I watched him as a freshman. I was sort of enamored with him. I think his growth got stunted a little bit because he wasn't playing for a great team down there. I don't know how good Nebraska's going to be. I think he can get developed at the very least. And so watch Jeff Sims. Let's see if he pulls the same kind of reclamation project we've seen up and down the Big 12 and the Big 10 for that matter over the past couple of years. It has taken me a while to detach Nebraska from the Big 12. Still not used to it. So the transfer portal's on fire, man. And remember, got another wave coming. Got a wave of commitments, but got another wave of entries coming. So this is not even close to over yet. Are you having fun yet? Is the transfer portal era everything you thought it was going to be? Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure to leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.